This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Two here, Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Still to come this hour, we're going to dive into the MLB card for the day. Also, reminder, the College World Series is officially set. We'll have games underway out there in Omaha coming up on Friday. And, of course, plenty of NHL and NBA postseason discussion. Why are you laughing? You always have something to going on that's percolating through that brain of yours.
I'm just laughing with joy. I'm giddy because Eric Johnson's going to be with us to talk a little Hawk. And I
know that's not why, though. You're lying.
Yes, it is. I love to talk Hawk. And I'm really looking forward to the insights of a championship-level player, especially when it comes to the intricacies of facing a different goaltender, if that is indeed what happens today.
Well, let's get into it. Eric Johnson does join us here on the Progressive Guest Line, NHL on ESPN analyst, longtime NHL vet. You said championship caliber, won a cup with the Colorado Avalanche.
Eric, can I test it with you? This is one of the themes that I like, or the phrases I like to use. Do you approve of the phrase talk Hawk?
Absolutely, I do. I love talking shop, chopping it up. I was actually sitting behind you guys last night watching the Knicks game with Steve Levy, Mark Messier, and PK Subban. Unfortunately, I did bet the Knicks, but we did talk a little hockey as well. So, yes, talk hockey is very appropriate.
We're all losers then because we all had the Knicks yesterday. That was on. Are you going back to the well for the next game, for Game 4?
I'm done, Stormy. I don't bet sports. I'm horse racing. Typically, that's it. I put a large wager on the Knicks. I am done. I'm just going to watch as a fan now.
Okay, speaking of horses, because you are a horse guy, there is a phrase, right? You go on the horse that brought you here. Do you do that with Freddie Anderson today if you are Rod Brind'Amour, or do you switch it up with Brandon Bussey and take the hot hand?
I think they might have to go to Bussey no matter what they want to do, because I think Freddie Anderson's dealing with some type of injury. He didn't skate yesterday for maintenance. I don't know whether that means he is dealing with something, just some load management. But you know what? Bussey had a really good rookie season. I wouldn't say he carried the Hurricanes, but when they needed him, he really went on a run for them and played really, really well. For me, I agree. I always say you stick with the guy that got you here, which is Freddie Anderson, but they may not have a choice, and Bussey's going to have to play regardless. So I think Bussey gets the net tonight, even though I personally would start Anderson.
So you're saying this isn't a one-horse town when it comes to the goaltending situation for the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the intricacies. If you're facing a goaltender that's different in terms of his handedness, like how does that affect the way you're playing offense? What are they looking for? Marner famously in the last game said he didn't even realize that they had changed goaltenders in the midst of the contest. But what are some of the intricacies that you're facing as a guy attacking the other side with the new dude in net?
Yeah, and I found that so interesting that Mitch Marner said that, because a lot of times when you do come out for the third period or the second period after intermission, you're not really looking down and looking in net to see who's there. You're just kind of focusing in your own bubble. But it was funny that he said he didn't know when he was going in on the penalty shot there that he was facing a southpaw. But as a shooter, so I was a right-handed shooter, and if you're looking at a guy that catches normal on the left side, you have just a little bit more space to put that puck down on the glove. So when you flip hands on the goalie, it just kind of makes it a little bit different to look at. Like, it doesn't throw you off, but it does make you maybe second guess what you're going to do when you're coming down on a guy that hand. So there's little different looks as far as what you see. You see more net on one side or the other compared to when they catch normally. So go into your shot selection, but it does make you think a little bit differently about where you might get a different rebound or where the puck might go in different angles. So it doesn't throw you off your game. It's just something a little different to think about. And let's be honest, with all the video and the iPads, every team has an iPad in the locker room. Guys go over faceoffs, guys go over breakaways against goalies as well. So there's so many different things they look at. So they're definitely looking at video and seeing where his weaknesses are, and they're going to have all that information before the game starts, if he does start.
Yeah, that's something that we discussed yesterday on the air, right? Was that, yes, in the midst of a game when you make a goaltender change, it really is a different look. But how much does that really impact you when you've had 24, 48 plus hours to prep for that goaltender now going into the game? In addition to the playing with a different hand, he's also a little bit more athletic, a little bit more aggressive. I'm sure that's something also they're going to be keying in on. For Vegas, though, I actually wonder if they've had that prep now, if that benefits them to an extent just because they are so good at getting those lateral passes inside that can get past a goaltender like that. Do you agree at all with that sentiment?
Yeah, and Stormy, I think the biggest thing is he's a bigger goalie than Anderson. He's taller, so Vegas has to get to the interior of that ice. Like, they can't be on the perimeter. They have to try and get into the middle of the slot. They have to get guys in front of him because, obviously he can see over a lot of screens. He's a big guy. So Vegas just has to make it hard on him if he is in the net, because a goalie's going to stop 99% of the pucks that he sees from distance. So they need to get people and people taking his eyes away in front of him. So that's going to be the biggest key for me is Carolina is going to want to take away that middle and keep Vegas to the outside. Can Vegas get to the middle and take away Bussy's eyes if he's playing tonight?
Eric, what have you thought about, because I keep making the case to Stormy, Freddie Anderson's not played well, but I also think at times he's been hung out to dry a little bit. We had a ridiculous own goal in the last game, some odd man rushes, some one-on-one situations between him and a forward. What have you made of how the guys have played in front of him as well that have put them in this situation?
Yeah, I don't pin it on him at all. I don't think he's stolen them a game yet, though. I mean, yeah. And let's face it, he hasn't really been tested the entire playoffs. Round 1, Ottawa, not a very tough opponent. Round 2, Philadelphia, they play hard, but not a very tough opponent. Montreal gave him a scare in Game 1 in the Eastern Finals, but after that, he was on cruise control. He didn't need to make a ton of saves. So this is a Vegas team that can score a lot of goals. I think they're number 1 in the playoffs in goals for, so they know how to put the puck in the back of the net. It's a completely different animal, a different look that Anderson's seen. So this is the first really true series, in my opinion, where he's been tested, and he hasn't come up with any of those game-breaking saves for me. Really, there's been a couple, right? But I don't think he's really been a guy that's stolen the game yet for Carolina, and when we'll see what happens tonight by who's in goal and who's going to get the nod to try and even this series at 2 for Carolina.
ESPN analyst, Stanley Cup champ Erik Johnson joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. I know before the series started, you had Vegas in 5. Do you still feel good about that pick? How many games do you think this thing goes? What's your overall series feel?
If I could tweak it a little, I probably would tweak it to 6. I said it on Pat McAfee this morning. I think that Vegas wins tonight, goes up 3-1. Carolina brings it back home for Game 5, makes it 3-2, and Vegas wins the Stanley Cup on home ice in Game 6.
Okay, you mentioned McAfee. I have to ask you this. Does he think that all hockey people are Canadian? Because whenever he has a hockey guest on, he turns on this bad Canadian accent that, correct me if I'm wrong, starts to sound kind of Irish?
Yes. I asked him, I go, why are you guys speaking to me in a Welsh accent? Like, what's going on here? I'm from Minnesota. So yes. I don't know. They have a lot of fun though. It's really, they do a great job, and it's fun going on that show. But yeah, they completely lose their minds when they get a hockey guest out there on their show, and they develop some very strange accent, as you said.
All right, let's talk about one of the big storylines here. I'm very curious. Mitch Marner and Conn Smythe. He's going to win this regardless, right? Is there anybody on Carolina, even if they come back to win this series, he could still win this in a losing effort, correct?
I agree. I think he's got it locked up. Fastest Stanley Cup final hat trick, I think, ever. And yeah, scapegoated in Toronto, said that he, couldn't win the big game. Now look at him. He's 2 wins away from his first Stanley Cup. Vegas is second in their short history as a franchise, and he's a big reason behind it. I mean, he so good defensively, so good offensively, responsible, just and he's a little guy too. So you think like, oh, just hit this guy, knock him out of the game. But he's very shifty and smart and elusive. So it's hard to do that when you play against him. So he's just got that hockey IQ that's smart. So I'm happy for him because he took a lot of flack that he probably didn't deserve in Toronto. And now he's, could win the Conn Smythe and the Stanley Cup. Pretty amazing season for Mitch Marner.
Before we let you go, we had the good fortune to work together a couple times this season, covering Vegas games specifically. And you obviously have a great relationship with John Tortorella, playing for him briefly in Philadelphia. And I think it was cool to see you two interact, for a guy who's got such a hard exterior, to show like the loving relationship that you guys have, joking around with each other. Do you think he just seems looser in Vegas? Like, why has this worked so well with John Tortorella pairing up with this group of guys?
The saying goes, there's winning and there's hell, and he didn't do a lot of winning his last few years until he got to Vegas. Winning solves a lot of problems, and I think they've lost 4 games in the playoffs and in the regular season since he's taken over. So winning solves a lot of problems. He's definitely feeling good, and he told me that, and I'm sure he's mentioned to the media as well, he hasn't had to do a lot with this Vegas team. He just had to really steer the ship. In some of his previous stops rebuilding teams, he had to do a lot of coaching at guys. He said in Vegas, he's coaching with them. Veteran team trusts him. They know how to win. So he's just made little tweaks when he's had to, but he's a very misunderstood man.
Cash-in tickets is what it's all about.
A very good person, and I hope he wins because he really deserves it, and I'm a big fan of Torts.
You're the man, EJ. Thank you so much for this. I know you're being pulled in like a million different directions out here covering things for ESPN. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the game.
My pleasure. Thank you both. Take care.
You're always going to be grateful that he can make time for us. You don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth.
What?
Never heard that one either?
No, I didn't know that horse phrase. Say it again.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
A gift horse?
Yeah.
No, why don't you?
You should read
Where's
more.
The origin
you should
for that?
Read more words.
How many times do you have to tell me to read more in a week, okay? Let me live.
Words.
We're only 2 days into the week, and I've had this said to me twice.
You've never heard "Don't look a gift horse in the mouth"?
A gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah,
no,
you shouldn't be ungrateful.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But he is like EJ is really into horse racing. He likes betting the ponies. He also is a part owner of a horse, so very invested. Maybe next year when we're getting into Triple Crown time, we dropped the ball on it this year, but next year we'll have him come on, get some NHL talk and get some horse talk.
I'm down.
All right. We got to step aside here. When we come back, more money moves after this. There are very few things in life people can agree on, yet everyone in the college football world seems to feel similarly about this.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So I don't know about you, but that segment with Eric Johnson just further cemented the thought process for me that Mitch Marner is going to win it all.
So I'm glad you brought this up. One of the things that I was toying with, and Mitch and I discussed this, Mitchell R. Moss, who is the usual host of Follow the Money?
Wow. You don't know the name of our show and their show? Rein it in, man. You should probably read more.
Follow the Money?
Yes.
Okay. So the host of Follow the Money, you know him as Mitch Moss. I call him Mitchell R. Moss. We were discussing this on Pod to the Futures. That's the one that I do. The concept of, okay, I'm with you. So again, to make the joke of, we're just betting that the world doesn't end before the Stanley Cup final, because I feel like Mitch Marner has such a stranglehold on this award. And again, if Carolina wins, because they're not out of it, it's only a 2-1 series deficit, I like your angle of, if there was somebody, I might take a little shot at 65-1 on Freddie A, just because, hey, what if he starts? What if he bounces back? He's got the large body of work anyway, and then Carolina wins the series. He was their most likely candidate, according to the odds, coming into the series, and I think that made a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But if you didn't want to go that route, and you know, again, when you're parlaying these things together, the price is still baked into the parlay you're getting. Want to get that out of the way. But if you don't want to lay it like -210, -205 on Marner to win this, what are some cross-sport, like, you, for example, you've been wanting to bet chalk in the World Cup. So why not put together a Marner Conn Smythe
with France,
with France to win the World Cup, and then,
or a group I really like.
And as we discussed, if you're willing to wait, I don't know, give me your favorite college football team. You know what I'm saying? To win a national championship.
Okay.
So we're just pairing them all together to get some sort of fun cross-sport parlay that you can juice it up and really kind of sweat this thing out as you move forward. So I think that's something just worth toying with. Maybe, if you really want to not get super wild, but like a top 10 coming up next week for the golf major that we're going to have. So there's all sorts of different ways that you could look at it. But I am ultimately, the point here being is, I do believe that he is going to win even if they lose.
And to double down on this, too, we cited a couple notes from an article in The Athletic yesterday, but it bears repeating. Yeah. Michael Russo and Chris Johnston, quote, "At this point, the Conn Smythe Trophy race isn't really a race anymore. Marner has separated himself from the field to such a degree it's hard to construct a realistic alternative case. The challenge isn't finding reasons Marner should win. It's finding reasons somebody else might become the MVP, even if Carolina comes back and wins its second Stanley Cup in 20 years.
I think you're right about the Anderson angle. The problem is we just don't even know if he's playing today.
Correct. And that's why to use the word you use, if, it is a very big if you want to go ahead and place that bet on the 50 to 65-1 that's available.
Now, if you want to get really froggy with it, is that the bus gets wrecked, they go down 3-1, and then we bet Anderson then to win Conn Smythe. He goes back in net, and they come storming back because Freddie A is all over him, and they end up winning it. You talk about some long odds. That's it right there.
I was trying to find something else because I was going through the odds and it just didn't make. Oh, here it is. Brandon Bussey is 120-1. How is he shorter than anyone? No, that's what I'm saying. Like, how is he shorter than anyone? Do not bet that. I feel like that is exclusively there and available because people aren't going to know that this is a postseason long award. They're going to think it's just a finals award. And if he comes in and saves the day, oh man, I'm cashing 120-1.
You just answered.
Do not waste your money.
You answered your own question.
It's ridiculous. Okay, you mentioned if you want to pair it in with your favorite college football team, maybe. College football is very much so on the brain this week with all of the developments going on in the Brendan Sorsby saga. Backstory for those who don't know, top quarterback coming out of the portal this year, goes to Texas Tech, makes a bunch of money, ends up having to then enter rehab for a gambling addiction, admits to wagering not only on college football, but several bets on his own team. When he was at Indiana, that is, as a redshirt freshman, NCAA ends up ruling him ineligible, which is a clear violation of their rules and bylaws. But yesterday, a judge in Lubbock County, Texas, granted him a temporary injunction allowing him to play this year. He'll miss the first 2 games of the year, but other than that, is eligible to play for the rest of the season. I've even seen some of the stuff with the NCAA coming in and trying to get the expedited appeal process going, that how that works legally could not actually end up taking effect until after the season is already over. So just keep that in mind as well. But with that, we have seen a lot of people coming out, I would say just about everybody outside of Texas Tech, saying this is BS and this is awful. And we're seeing the Big 12, for example, they had a conference call today with Brett Yormark. The official statement coming out of that, quote, "We had a thoughtful and productive conversation with our ADs today. As we continue to work through the broader implications of the situation, many of our ADs voiced their opinions. We'll continue to have open and honest dialogue, yada, yada, yada." But the point of the call being what a lot of the Big Ten people have said, and the ACC commissioner, is that we don't want to schedule Texas Tech now. Georgia and Nebraska immediately came out with stances and were reportedly emailing different coaches and departments across their respective universities saying, do not schedule Texas Tech. If you try to, you need to come through us. Like, this is a big deal.
It seems like it is a big deal, so we'll see what the ramifications actually become. I was told that this is a strong point, and you always want to look at both sides of things, which is generally what this comes down to is the NCAA just making arbitrary rules and Sorsby arguing that, hey, as an entity, we haven't really agreed to these sort of things, so you can't just arbitrarily come down and say I'm not allowed to do these things. So that's like the legal crux and why maybe he won his injunction. I'll be curious to see if that holds up as this is appealed and it moves forward. But on the surface, it still just does not feel right, even as a gambling network, that you can bet on your team.
Since the dawn of time, at any level of sports, you cannot bet on or against your team.
Well, I'll say this real quick. If you were pro Pete Rose, and you better be pro Sorsby, you better be happy about this, right? Because Pete Rose obviously had his run-ins, and he bet on his teams as he was managing them. And so that is, if you were pro, hey, man, he should be in the Hall of Fame, it doesn't really matter, then you should probably be pro Sorsby. So this has been a topic of conversation before. But I'm just of the ilk of, like, look, I'm pretty liberal when it comes to the rules about gambling. Like the whole wringing your hands about him wagering on Cincinnati Reds games and things of that nature. That should not matter. But there should probably be one solid red line, which is you just can't bet on the team when you're part of it, even if you're betting on the team to have success. But at the end of the day, the NCAA, when this whole sports betting thing blew up, arbitrarily just said, well, you can't do that. Sure. And there's nothing legally that ties you to it. And at the end of the day, reading more into this, at the very least, there is a legal point when you're looking at it and saying, yeah, he would suffer damages if he adheres to this arbitrary rule that the NCAA has handed down. And, it comes back to you got to collectively bargain with these players. You got to set these up. I don't know how you would do that, if it would be by conference or it would be by sport or whatever it is, but you've got to have some legal grounds to do this. And the NCAA has learned not only in just this, but in many different instances. Stormy, how many times do we talk about it? You can't just arbitrarily say this is how it should be because they're getting pressed at every turn and they're losing at every turn.
Yeah. To your Pete Rose comp, though, even then, his entire life, he was ridiculed and banned from the sport that he loved and not eligible for the Hall of Fame until posthumously now. So don't get me on the reading thing now. I can't take it from you. I just think that it's especially when you look at some recent comps. Every other sport, it's clear as day this way. Granted, I know the Jonte Porter situation is different, and some of the stuff we've seen in Major League Baseball is different, but I sent you the tweet, just a reminder, Rick Neuheisel was fired for being in a Calcutta for the NCAA basketball tournament, even though that's not even his sport. Hunter Deckers made one $15 bet in the same exact situation as Brendan Sorsby as a redshirt freshman when he's not playing, and that was enough to get him banned from his sport and having to go to JUCO.
Should have had a better legal team, I guess.
That's what I said yesterday.
Yeah.
Just needed a better lawyer, I suppose.
Isn't that what it always comes down to?
Some of the quotes here, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips told ESPN the ruling, quote, represents a horrendous pattern eroding the integrity of our process. An unnamed Big 12 AD told ESPN they were disgusted and said we've, quote, lost our soul. Kansas State's AD, Gene Taylor, told Yahoo's Ross Dellinger, it's effing BS. I know the kid has a problem. Well, get well and focus on your problem. It's absolutely devastating for him to be able to play when every other sport, no matter the level, deems an athlete ineligible or they are punished severely for betting on their teams. And it goes on and on and on. But again, all of this to say, this is the one thing we all know. If there's a gray area for everything else, this is the one thing that is very black and white that we know you can't and you don't do. That said, the expectation is he's going to play. He's only going to miss the first 2 weeks against Abilene Christian and Oregon State. Texas Tech out to -150 to win the Big 12.
That's the thing that bothers me, though, about this. If the injunction is given to him because they're saying the NCAA can't just arbitrarily come down and uphold this punishment, then why does he have to serve 2 games?
Why suspend him? Yeah.
Correct. Why would Sorsby agree to that?
He has
why
an
would
addiction.
You not?
He's working through it. He's a great representative of what kids should learn from.
But if you're serving a suspension, you are thereby admitting that you did something wrong and deserve to be punished. But it's not enough to be banned. That to me is that is what bothers me too. Is if you're going to fight this, fight it the whole way and say, I'm not getting suspended at all.
In life, there have to be consequences for your actions. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And it just bothers me when you know the rules and regulations, you break them, and you're not actually penalized. So Texas Tech is going to win those first 2 games of the season, most likely, without Brendan Sorsby. He'll be ready to go for that Big 12 opener against Houston and on to the next. Again, -150 favorites to win the Big 12. The win total for Texas Tech, 10.5. Overs juiced to -250. They're a 20-1 shot to win a natty. Sorsby's odds for the Heisman were off the board yesterday. 25-1 now.
They ain't voting for him.
There you go. We got to step aside here on Money Moves, but what a day. Talking Major League Baseball when we return here on the program.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Money Moves, Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, live from downtown Las Vegas. That did not sound like a sigh of relief, my friend.
I'm just angry.
Sigh of discouragement,
Miserable, perhaps a little insecure. Just not really feeling it, Stormy. Everybody has slighted me in my life.
Someone tweeting you mean things.
Yeah.
Happens to me all the time. Although you'll like this one, our boy Nish chiming in, said, JVT, we need a side podcast, Proverbs with JVT, tie him into sports betting. He'd subscribe.
I just know a bunch of useless idioms and whatnot. That's hardly, I think, very... Well, it does remind me of the time that, maybe Nish should remember this as well, that I did in the early days of The Edge, ask Matt Youmans to write a book of Matt Youmans-isms. There's not that many.
Do you have them in like a notepad or anything
well,
that
there's
you've been
like,
keeping track of?
Yeah, there's nothing worse than hope, which Tim uses all the time. Let's see. Don't ask a bad team to do good things for you.
That's a classic.
That's
yes.
a classic one as well. Then there's some other ones that I don't necessarily think Matt Youmans originated, but I still subscribe them to Matt Youmans. And the others that are around Matt's orbit. A Hound's Breakfast, for example, is a good one. I think that's an old one, though. Okay. Like, it's sloppy. It's, it's nasty. It's a Hound's Breakfast. Like a cockroach in a plate of spaghetti.
Ew.
Like the things, you can imagine just like coming all over the place and just the noodles flying everywhere and whatnot. So we'll have to ask Matt what some of the other ones are. Something about broccoli. He's got one about king cobras. Justin, I don't know if maybe you can remember that one, but yeah, there's something about king cobras. But Youmans has a lot of them.
Since he has, put to the wayside the fast food rankings, maybe we can get a rankings of human-isms instead.
Yeah, what's this summer going to be like?
I don't know. What are we going to live for anymore?
What are we going to do now that we can't have
Speaking of mean
now
tweets.
That Culver's can't be ranked third anymore.
Since we're going to talk Major League Baseball here, I feel like this is appropriate. Speaking of mean tweets, someone followed me yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, just to tweet at me, great call on Brewers A's under.
First off, to that person, okay, that's actually awesome. The fact that they followed you just to send you something mean. Because guess what? They didn't need to follow you. They could have just tweeted at you. But instead, you got a new follower.
You're bumping those numbers, brother.
And you get something. And I will just say, maybe that was me on a fake account. We tried
the JVT burner.
Yeah, we tried to warn you yesterday.
You did.
Let's start there. Because this game, this series is incredible. I saw people complaining about this yesterday.
Why?
I saw
awesome.
There's no way after this you could put a ballpark in Las Vegas. Okay, first off, it's not that ballpark is very unique. It is the jet streams that are out to right, and then again on the third base line. That is not going to happen when they play in their indoor dome that is out there when they're playing at the former site of the Tropicana. So it's not going to be like that. But this ballpark is unique. It's a AAA park. And it does lead me to thinking...
And it's, the second highest elevation also that is being played in Major League Baseball this year, second only to Coors Field.
Which I actually did not put that together until you told me that last night. And I was like, I guess that is true. But this is just a unique situation for this ballpark. And part of this is that people have to realize, obviously, is these are going to be here in 2 years. And they're trying to ingratiate themselves in the community and build some goodwill and all this sort of stuff. So, of course, they're going to play out there if they give them the opportunity. But I also think part of this is you have players, a couple of them, that played in that ballpark as part of the AAA team. And maybe there's some familiarity with the ballpark, all sorts of things. So this total is now up to 13. Justin, our producer, and I, and you, we were texting about this a little bit earlier today.
Justin said, go back to the well, baby.
I don't necessarily disagree. However, the way that I was going to maybe approach this is maybe not so much the aspect of going back to the well for the total for the game, but do you go team total over for the Athletics today? Might be worth looking at. Again, Gasser is a fly ball pitcher. He's pitched at least 4 in the 3 outings that we've seen him so far this year. So maybe you can get to him early and often. Again, I just think it's going to be a high-scoring series. So I wonder, the reason why I'm a little tentative on the over itself is not only the adjustment, but Ginn is a ground ball guy. He generally keeps the ball down. And so do you get got in a game that, the total is 13 and it's 10-1 and the A's just blow out the Brewers, potentially sort of deal. So I do wonder if that's the case. But Athletics team total over about 6.5. I think that might be worth looking at here as opposed to maybe going over the game. But after what happened to me last night, I sent you guys what I decided to put together for some S's and G's.
Yeah, you had like a 4-leg parlay. You bet them all separate also.
I was just like, I got to watch something today. And then, sure enough, that was great. You want coffee? It's on me.
Yeah, please. I need it. Also, so a big part of my handicap yesterday, as I mentioned earlier in the show, was just the Kyle Harrison angle of it, how unbelievable he's been all season. I wanted to see where his odds moved for Cy Young because he was 4th on the board. Like, he 50-1 now. Yeah. Just after a terrible blow-up start for him. He had been so good, and then RIP to that opportunity. Speaking of really solid pitchers, though, that have been struggling, Paul Skeens, he's back on the hill today for the Pirates, hosting the Dodgers. Last 4 starts, 0-4, 5.85 ERA, didn't make it past 6 innings in any of them, longest such streak in his career. Prior to this stretch, though, he had a 1.98 ERA. He's facing a Dodgers team today that he has been one of the few pitchers in the last couple years to have really like historical success now, right? His 2.70 ERA in 4 starts against LA the last 3 years, second best of any pitcher with at least that many starts. He's been great specifically against Shohei Ohtani when he's been in the lineup as well. Any thoughts on this one coming up tonight?
Yeah, I think Skeens has deserved better. If you whittle down the sample size that we're talking about, that you mentioned his last 4 starts where he's not pitched at least 5 1/3 or 5 1/3 and fewer is a better way to put it if you speak English properly. The 5.85 ERA is also juxtaposed by a 2.86 fielding independent. So he's deserved a little bit better when you look at just what he has done up to this point. If you look at some of the StatCast stuff and some of the contact numbers, over the course of these 4 games, he's only given up 2 barrels. Hard hit rates there at like 41%, which is a little average, but it's not anything abhorrent. So he is pitched better than what the results have given. So I don't think I'm deterred by any stretch to look at Paul Skeens and say, well, I can't touch this guy. He's been awful. I think if he reverts back and water finds its level, to keep using cliches here, that he's going to put forth enough of an opportunity for the Pirates to get this done. And I think that's why you've seen a little bit of a move in his direction, depending on where you shop. You saw this open a slight favorite in favor of the Dodgers. Now we're up to that -118 here at Circa. These are the numbers I'm using. I think that makes sense, that if you were talking about earlier on the overnights when you were getting a small dog price on Skeens, given what he has shown you over the 4 games that he has last pitched, and given what his season-long metrics would tell you, he's going to put the Pirates in position to potentially win this game. So I would be, even like right now, laying that price. On the other end, you still have a quality opponent in the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lauer, a 5.74 ERA, has not pitched particularly well, and he has been awful. I think you're probably at the precipice of unplayable, but I still think if you're looking like -115 or better, it's worth playing Skeens here.
So I don't have anything in Twins-Tigers, but I wanted to bring this game up quickly. Troy Melton versus Taj Bradley today. Detroit -132 home favorites, run total 8.5. But I wanted to bring this up because it looks more and more like Tarik Skubal is going to make his return here soon. Sunday tossed 5 scoreless in a rehab start for High A West Michigan. Could reportedly be back as soon as this coming weekend against the Guardians. But in the games that he has not been out here, they have been terrible. And you can't fully blame pitching. The hitting drop-off more than the rotation has been the problem, but 18 and 19 at the time of his injury, averaging 4.5 runs per game and a 3.81 team ERA. 9 and 22 since, averaging 3.3 runs per game and a 4.22 ERA. They have been the worst team in baseball since May 4th.
They have, but Taj Bradley has hit the skids a little bit here, so you do wonder how that's going to look, because his last 2 starts, you talk about not meeting certain benchmarks. He has pitched a grand total in his last 2 starts of 8 2/3, a 4-inning outing and a 4 2/3 outing. He's given up 8 earned runs over that time. Command has been an issue for him. He's walked 7 over that stretch while striking out 11. Contact numbers for him as well for Taj Bradley have been pretty poor over those starts too. So you do wonder if Bradley, who has been a really good story this season, is maybe starting to regress to the mean a little bit here.
Yes, but can I follow up with maybe the K-prop is still worth a look on him, because he had been doing, and this is something that Justin Emery brought to our attention, our wonderful producer. He's been really deep diving into a lot of the K-props this season, and it was Taj Bradley Day there for a while, the way that he was striking people out. His prop is still just at 4.5, and like even with the struggles that he's had the last couple games, he's gotten over that number 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. I mean, he's statistically going over this number a whole lot more than not, and that you're getting the 4.5 instead of the 5.5, maybe a little bit of a discount.
I think it makes sense, and just because you're getting beat up with some earned runs, outside of maybe getting pulled if you get absolutely crushed early on, you can still rack up strikeout numbers.
Yeah. Anything else you want to get to last 90 seconds?
I think Yankees and Guardians, only because the Yankees are obviously in the midst of a little bit of chaos with their lineup and some of the injuries that they're suffering, but also because Garrett Cole is going to make his 4th start, and it has been really impressive to watch Cole so far in this early going. He's coming off of his worst start, 5 1/3, 4 earned runs, got taken deep 3 times by this Guardians team. Now you wonder, back on the road against the Guardians once more in a second consecutive start, if he's going to have a little bit something better for him. And on the other side, Coney's getting the start. He has not been particularly great. 4.92 ERA, 4.31 FIP, but just more curious here about the bounce back for Cole after getting beat up by this Guardians team as a $1.20 favorite. Would lean a little bit toward just that. Cole kind of reverting back to form a bit that we saw when he first got out here in his first 2 starts.
If you want to deep dive into more baseball content, go to vsin.com. Greg Peterson's got articles every day. Our own Adam Burke, Josh Applebaum breaking down some betting splits as well. vsin.com/subscribe. You can join us on a full-time basis. And the cool thing about the deal we've got going right now is it's our football season special. So it's encouraging you to hey, come join us before football season. You'll get our football betting guide for free as a part of this. But you also get unlimited access to everything else we do at the network, all sports, full breakdowns of the NBA and Stanley Cup Final, the World Cup, daily best bets, real-time bet splits, AI-powered prop tools, all of it. vsin.com/subscribe now to lock in our early bird football season special for just $175. Come join us. Come hang. We're wrapping things up next. Speaking of best bets, we'll have ours after this quick timeout.
Requirements apply.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Wrapping up this Tuesday edition of Money Moves, Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Real quickly, just coming off our MLB conversation last segment, did want to at least give the treetops of the College World Series real quickly with the field officially being set, JVT. Georgia and North Carolina, your co-favorites at plus 275. Remember, we saw the top 2 seeds in the entire tournament knocked out pretty dang early in this thing. Texas 3-1, West Virginia plus 750, Ole Miss 8-1, Alabama 14-1, Oklahoma 16-1, and Troy, along with West Virginia, by the way, both making their first ever appearances in Omaha. Troy is 35-1. So 5 SEC teams, Alabama back in the field for the first time since 99, so that's kind of cool. Texas obviously won on the women's side. Can they get the double dip on the men's side? Games will begin this Friday. And we'll have some guests that'll help us break this all down. Obviously, our own Jensen Lewis, very involved in college baseball, called regional and super regional action, which will be fun to get into. It's a little bit sad, though, somber. We're not going to Omaha this year, so no Jello shots for you, JVT.
No, but it was fun. Really did enjoy it. We were actually talking about it, and you brought them up. I believe the McAfee crew is going to be out there, so that'll be a good experience. I was just bringing this up to, who did I talk to yesterday? Because they were asking what the LSU record was for the Jello shots, and had they said it last year. They didn't last year. It was the previous year that they had been out there. But either way, I know the record was like 68,888 or somewhere in that range. But it was a good experience. Had a lot of fun out there at Rocco's. And as you know who I was talking?
I think it's, yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah? You know who I was talking to about this, actually? This is the perks of the job, is Tony Kemp, the former A's player who played with him for a long time. He was there yesterday, and we were talking about that. He gave me the nugget that he is that wonderful ballpark that we got to watch out there that Creighton plays baseball in. He was the first hit in that ballpark. And so we were talking about Omaha and whatnot. But either way, great ballpark. That was a really cool experience.
Charles Schwab Field.
Yes, and very grateful for Derek to allow us to go out there. Same thing with our bosses here at VSiN. And I know that Mike Palm is grateful to not be in the sun, as he was that day.
Yeah, that was poor guy. He was beat down.
Yes.
But
and beat red.
Your header on your Twitter is still you, me, myself, and Derek throwing back some Jello shots that first day.
It's a good
picture. It was a blast.
People still don't know where that mysterious slurp came from.
We know. We know. While we're on college sports, also, let's update quickly because we broke down at length the last couple days this Brendan Sorsby situation at Texas Tech with him being granted the temporary injunction to play football this year, albeit missing the first 2 games of the season. But as kind of a side comment after we were reciting all of the quotes from the various ADs and different programs. We mentioned the way that this appeals process shakes out, and for you to ultimately have a rebuttal to this isn't going to be until like after the season is over. There is an exact date scheduled for that. The trial against the NCAA is set for February 8th, 2027, which coincidentally, JVT, 2 weeks after the College Football Playoff National Championship here in Vegas.
Just missed it. Just missed it. Good for him. Lucky. As we were talking about off the air, I think it's going to be really funny that because it does seem to me that the perception of Sorsby as a player has greatly improved in the offseason, even though we haven't seen much. It's not like I think he's terrible, but I've thought it like, wow, like we're really not even just the hubbub because it's a big story, but you're hearing these rumblings when the potential was out there that he was going to enter the supplemental draft. That some were alleging, some scouts said that he was a better talent than Arch Manning.
So this is one thing specifically you read, though, yes?
No. I have read multiple, yes. And maybe not to the specific of a first, second-round pick, but could have been a first-round selection. This draft, all these sort of things. So I do wonder if that's being a little overblown to an extent, how good he is going to be. But either way, as you astutely pointed out, there's been many times that I, and I'm sure many, have thought, what's the big deal with this guy? And then they went on to do some really good things and be very good. So just all of that to be said, he's going to play. He's going to be suspended for 2 games. Got to deal with it as it is, and then we'll see what happens after the season.
And we kind of hit on this quickly because we were in a situation where we had a commercial break right away and a guest coming up after that, so we didn't follow up on the last comment you said when we gave the Heisman odds going into this year and how Brendan Sorsby was previously off the board yesterday when all of this was coming out, 25-1 today on DraftKings and various other sports books. He's not going to win. Like, people are not going to vote for him after all of this. There are very few things in life that all of us as a society agree on. Yeah. Very, very few. And as this has come down, every single person that I have seen discussing this topic outside of people at or around Texas Tech are all on the same side of this thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why you would want to bet him to win Heisman.
It just seems like a waste of money. To use the old Michael Lombardi adage, right? It's a St. Jude's play. It's a donation. This is the point of handicapping the voters. It's not going to be every voter, but there's going to be enough voters that will not vote for him if he's in contention for this, that it's not worth. Sure. He's already behind the 8 ball. Very different reasons, but it goes back to our conversation about Conn Smythe when Carter Hart felt like a realistic candidate based on his on-ice performance, right? Yeah. That you just handicapping the voters element of it and what we know of people that primarily are in those roles. And Greg Wyshynski had that great breakdown of where the Conn Smythe was at, interviewing actual voters and some of their thoughts, compiling that information. Okay, we've only got a couple minutes left in the show, so let's recap the bets from yesterday, look ahead to what we're adding to the portfolio. Nothing to add for me today after an 0-2 day yesterday. By the time we're back on the program tomorrow, I probably will have bet the Knicks in Game 4, so at least keep that in the back pocket. A Lahoo's a her on it yesterday, but also that parlay on the Brewers and A's.
I thought that was an O next to the 11. That's a U for under 11?
Would have been nice. Same price, by the way. It was the same price on the Brewers money line in the over, plus 216. So
not the same price on that parlay, but the other yesterday. I'm sure that'll burn really nicely.
Real quickly though, even though we have the loser on the Knicks, this does help my over 5.5 games situation for the NBA Finals. That is still a pending play, and of course all of the pending futures that we have in the NHL. Go ahead.
Yep. So Knicks minus 1.5. We rode together. We died together. Much like many yesterday,
including Eric Johnson, who told us he was here watching the game and he bet the Knicks last night, so we're all losers together.
Yeah, but let the record show that I have been on the Knicks every game, and we'll probably go back to this in Game 4.
As will the ladder better, I assume.
Yeah.
So he only won one of them yesterday.
Ooh, yeah. That's the danger.
Yep.
That is the danger. Pending, by the way, Karl-Anthony Towns Finals MVP, 22-1, in a pretty good position there. We haven't hit on this, actually. De'Aaron Fox, series leader in assists at plus 650. He is now minus 125 to lead the series in assists. He's got a 3-assist lead on the pack right now. So Fox is in a pretty good spot. I was talking about this with Mitch today. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to hedge? Do you want to do anything? My answer, and Mitch agreed, was just, we're going to let this ride. We're in a really good spot. His minutes aren't going anywhere. The assist opportunities are going to be there. So I do think, those nifty little plays, it was pointed out on the broadcast, just those little pick and pops to Wemby, with those little pocket passes where he can hit those elbow jumpers. He's going to be able to rack up those assists. So I feel like we're in a pretty good spot for De'Aaron Fox to lead the series in assists. Hurricanes, minus 1.5 games, plus 130, and the Stank, leader in shots on goal in this series. How are we looking there?
Not good.
Okay. you went You went to go pull up these statistics, and you were just like, "There's no point."
I'm not even kidding. I was about to bring up my document. It's like Mitch Marner is like -2 something now. It's
the
absurd.
lone addition for today: Erling Haaland to lead the World Cup in goal scoring at 12-1. So we wanted a golden boot action and decided that, you know what, let's have some fun and let's put a price on a guy who's a pretty good goal scorer. So we'll go with Haaland at 12-1.
That's a good note. I will be adding some World Cup bets over the next couple of days. Might have a little fun, throw in a College World Series play. This time of year, I want to have a little bit of fun. They're not big bets. They're just small, have fun, enjoy, have a sweat type of a bet. Typically throughout the course of the regular season, I'm not a big NBA bettor, but I've been making an effort this year, and it does make me a lot more engaged in the games when I'm betting them. Baseball is going to be a different. This summer is going to be a different situation for you, girl.
Nah, but baseball's going to be. Well, there's a lot going on this summer. I mean, we got plenty of stuff going on.
I mean, I've been trying to keep up with my fantasy league team, and I'm terrible in that too. Not in last, which is. Are you in last?
I am in last.
What happened?
Oh, my team stunk. It was like completely overperforming at the beginning of the year. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you were doing so well.
Yeah.
I've been very steadily in 9th place.
Again, I don't think I can say my team name on the air, but I don't think it's that bad also. But the JVTs are not doing well.
We can talk about this offline. Our commissioner tried to make a trade with me.
And then did he tell you that you're an idiot if you don't accept this? This is the best deal you're ever going to get?
No, he did not. But I looked at it and was like, what do you think I am? It was just one of those types of things. What is happening here?
Seriously?
Good Lord. How are you watching the game tonight?
Let's see. You got to work, and then after that, I don't know, on a television somewhere, I would hope.
All right.
Is that like an invitation? Like, what is that question? Or where are you going to watch it?
Want to come down? I'm watching it at home.
Okay.
My brother and my mother are coming over. You're more than welcome. You're part of the family now. We're getting Greek.
Oh, that Mediterranean food is healthy.
Yes, it's very healthy. A lot of
better than certain Mexican restaurants named after a white person out here in Las Vegas.
It's called Eddie's, and it's delicious.
Don't name it.
I want to give them pub. They're good as hell. But
it's like the radio folk, they don't do that.
Well, you do different things all the time. All I was going to say is big chicken and steak souvlaki gal. So we're going to have a bunch of those skewers. If you want to come on down, you're more than welcome.
Got to hit some cardio
Bit
first.
of a drive for you. That's a wrap for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.
It's a brilliant of the invite. You know I'm not going to go, but you invite anyway. It's brilliant.
Why don't you want to come? No, just kidding. We're hanging out on Thursday.
Yeah.
Mitch might come too. Who knows?